everyone, I'm Jusara Emilia. I want to explain about monetary economic. Instruction 6 material about. The first one, understanding the classical demand for money, calculating the demand for money according to Ricardo, Irving Fisher, and Marshall. In understanding the demand for money according to Keynes. Next, calculation of money demand for transaction, precaution, and speculation. Understanding modern quantity theory. The next, understanding modern Keynesian theory with an inventory approach and portfolio balance. The first one, understanding the classical demand for money. Demand for money, desire to hold cash deposit and liquid asset or will in the form of money. Liquidity, degree to which an asset can be readily converted to spendable cash without a significant loss in value. For example, for sale. Transaction demand for money, the desire to hold money to purchase goods and service. For example, buy to chair, television, and other. The greater to the value of transaction a person make, the more wealth that person needs to hold the form of money. Many customers make for money credit card the purchase to business. Precautionary demand for money, the desire to hold money in order to pay for emergency expenses. As an example, certificate household. In individuals do not diversify their wealth holding, it may result in a significant financial loss. Speculative demand for money, the desire to hold money to be able to purchase financial asset and the appropriate time or to take certain current financial risks. For example, when interest rates are high, this encourages more bond holding. There is an opportunity cost attached. They must forego earning a rate of return. As interest rate rise, individual will choose to hold less money. As interest rate fall, individual will choose to hold more money. Can you see this point? Money demand curve. Okay, next, Keynesian theory. The definition demand for money. Demand. The demand for money is a desired holding of financial asset in the form of money that is cash or bank deposit. There are three approaches to demand for money. The first one, classical approach, neoclassical approach, then the last, Keynesian approach. Classical approach. The main aspect of the classical approach are as follows. Money is demanded as a mean of payment. The amount demanded depends on the volume of transaction and price level. The change in the velocity of circulation of money change in liquidity of money demand. The classical approach can be explained in terms of feature of change which has been started below. MV equal PT where M money supply, V transaction velocity of money, P price level, and T transaction demand for money, MV supply for money. Neoclassical approach. According to this approach, people wish to hold on to a certain proportion K of national output in the form of money. There exists a proportional relationship between the demand for money MD and the money volume of national output. The demand for money can be expressed as follows: MD equal KW, where 0 K1. MD demand for money ke constant proportion of W, money value of national output. And for example, can you see this PowerPoint file? Keynesian theory of demand for money. Keynes approach to determine the demand for money is based of money's two important function: medium of change and store value. Keynes lists the following three motive for holding money. The first one, transaction motive, the precautionary motive, and speculation motive. Transaction motive. The amount of money held for the transaction motive depend on the following factor. The first one like level of income, time interval, price level, and volume of employment. Transaction motive. The first one, income motive, is refer to transaction demand for money by earner of wage and salary to carry out transaction in kind such as rent payment and electricity by payment. Money held for this purpose declines over the income interval period, the income at the end of the period being zero. For example, can you see PPT file? Business motive. It refers to the demand for money by business firms to carry out their day-to-day transactions such as payment of electricity bills, rent, raw material, and wage. The money held, but the firm declines over a period of time. Precautionary motive. This motive refers to the desire of people to hold on the cash balance of unforeseen contingencies such as sickness. Similarly, businessmen keep cash in the reserve to survive favorable conditions or to gain from unexpected deals. The transaction and precautionary motive of holding money are primarily influenced by the level in income. Keynes combined the transaction and precautionary demand for money, which can be expressed as follows. Can you see the precautionary curve? Where L1 demand for money due to transaction and precautionary motive W income, the equation show that L1 is a function of income. That is, demand for L1 might change with a change in income level. The demand for money for transaction and precautionary motive in elastic. Can you see PPT file? The precautionary curve. The ML1 line indicates that the transaction and precautionary demand for money is affected by change in the rate of interest. The transaction and precautionary demand for money is known as the demand for active cash balance. Speculative motive. Speculative simply means guessing the change in value on an asset makes profit. If related to the desire to hold on to one research in liquid form to make advantage of future change in the interest rate or bond price. It is also called asset demand for money and related to the store of value function of money. It is income elastic. At a higher rate of interest, less money is held for this motive and vice versa. The change in the market rate in interest and security price can be expressed as follows. Can you see this equation? Where P market price of the security, R return on the security, and market of interest, and N original price on the security. Speculative motive. Mr. X wants to invest in bond at an interest rate of 2%. In years' time in exchange for ENR 100 in the cash now that is by buying a bond that pay ENR 100,000 in years now. However, he expects to speculate the interest rate to rise from 2,000 from 2% to 10% shortly at 10% investing in ENR 2,000 in case no will get him in ENR 1,100 in years time. Hence, Mr. X hold on the money until the rate increases to 10% and then declines to invest. People do not hold on to cash when the rate of interest is high because of the following reason. The first one, the opportunity cost of holding idle cash is high. The second one, the security price at the time of high interest rate are low, which induce investor to purchase them. The speculative demand for money depend on the rate interest. Can you see this equation? Where L2 speculative demand for money and R rate for rate of interest. Speculative motive. The speculative motive demand for money LP and its relationship with interest rate can be diagrammatically expressed as below. Can you see the diagram? I want to explain. Can you see the PPT file? LP is measured on the x-axis and interest rate is denoted on the y-axis. At interest R, only OM quantity is demanded at a lower interest, that is R and R. OM1 and OM2 quantities are demanded respectively. Point toward the demand for LP becomes perfectly elastic. This situation is known as a liquidity trap. Liquidity trap at the low rate interest, the speculative demand for money become perfectly elastic, which result in a liquidity trap. Can you see the curve? Demand for money. 2% is considered to be the lowest rate below which the market rate interest will not decline. Up to point T, the L2 curve is sloping downward up to point T, indicating an inverse relationship between the speculative demand for money and market rate interest. At point T, the L2 curve horizontal and the horizontal part of the curve show the liquidity trap that explain the perfectly elastic speculative demand for money. At such a low interest rate, people prefer to hold on the cash interest to purchasing bond because of the fear of an immense decline in bond price. Total demand for money. The total demand for money is expressed as follows: MDL1 W plus L2R. MD demand for money, L1 W demand for L1 Y demand for money due to transaction and precautionary motive but being increasing function in income level. L2R demand for money due to speculative motive, a declining function of interest rate. Determinant of demand for money. The first one, price level, assumption full employment and the constant volume of transaction. The demand for money depend on the price level, income. The transaction of precautionary demand for money depend on income. Relating the assumption of the employment, the demand for money is determined by the price level P and the volume of transaction T. This is PT. Determinant of demand for money. The third, interest rate. When people hold on cash idle balance, they incur an opportunity cost in terms of foregone interest. The demand for investment in various assets depend on the interest rate. The demand for money for motive other than transaction and precautionary in function of the rate of interest and is inversely related to the rate of interest. The last, velocity of circulation of money. The demand for money and the velocity of the circulation are inversely related. Quantity theory of money. Quantity of money. John Maynard Keynes, Anna Sherwood, Fisher, David Hume, and Milton Friedman. The quantitative theory of money is an important tool for thinking about issues in macroeconomics. The question for the quantitative theory of money: M V equal P Y. What do those variables represent? M or variables start straying forward. It's the money supply in an economy. A typical dollar bill can go a long journey during the course of a single year. It can be spent in exchange for goods and services numerous times in the quantitative theory of money. How many times an average dollar exchange it is velocity or V. The price level of good and service and economic represented by P financially. Y is all of financed good and service sold in an economy real GDP. When you multiple Y, the result is nominal GDP. The left MXV cover the action of customer while the right PY cover the action of producer. Sign everything that is all sold is bought by someone. Okay, thank you everyone. I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.